Hi folks, this is Peter here with another installment of Great Ideas with Great Minds, and today we're going to be talking all about inventing. And sure, the whole idea of this YouTube channel is about inventing, but today is not about me. It's about you. It's about how you can invent and you can make your impact. And sure, I do not have any patents, copyrights, actually like any money to my name or any glorious cut for me making something. Actually, that's not true. I did make a really cool sleeping bag dryer in 6th grade, but that's beside the point. My point is, that's not about me because it's all about figuring out what you can do. And that's something that I don't know, and maybe you don't even know. So, how about we find out? And before we find out, let's take a little trip down memory lane to the time where I was a wee lad learning to tie my shoes. Oh, the joy of tying shoes. All those little tricks your parents teach you in the books they give you to tie your shoes. And yet, I spent about 3 to 4 years from preschool to kindergarten trying to figure that out, and I could not do it. Man, that was hard to tie my shoes. But you know what? In the meantime, I found a lot of ways to not tie my shoes. Well, not tie them the way I was being told to tie them. Because I still like to tie things together. I just couldn't figure out how to do it the other way I was being told. And so, I experimented. I got all the stray rope I could find in my dad's workshop, and I would go on hours of tying little tiny knots, sometimes with half hitches, sometimes with other knots that I don't actually know at this point, because, well, my devious 4 to 5 year old mind was intent on making something. And make it did. Knotted catastrophes that would take my parents hours to untie if they actually gave the time. But nope, that's why they gave me a spare rope, because no one was going to untie those knots. And so I did the one thing that maybe you want for your shoes: make a knot that you'll never undo. But since most people like to take their shoes off too, I guess it makes sense why people kind of like the knots that we have. Although, I'm pretty sure we only got to that point because someone decided to find a way to tie their shoes or tie some rope together in a bow. And yeah, sure, your parents might have taught you, or someone else, and someone might have taught them. But if you go all the way back to the person who had to discover that, before anyone could be taught, that had to be discovered. That's kind of cool because imagine making a new way to tie your shoes that is more efficient, that holds longer, heck, that just looks really fancy. People do it with ties all the time. So, why can't we find a new way to tie your shoes? Well, I'm sure some of you would say, why do I want to tie my shoes anyway? I mean, isn't the whole point of tying your shoes to get that done and out as quickly as possible? You say that. Sure. But if you never try, and your whole goal is being more efficient, there's always probably a way to do it better. Or, if you just enjoy having something fun to do, which I hope is actually the reason you're doing it, it's kind of an adventure to learn. And that's why I've spent the last week trying to tie my shoes with my left hand instead of my right hand. Because, believe it or not, I've spent about 18, 17 years of being a professional level shoe tire. I mean, I assume I'm professional at this point. Relying on my right hand. Yet my left hand, still a strong hand, yet doesn't know how to tie shoes well. Huh. Well, that's something that can be resolved. And so I've been having to figure out ways to make it so that I can do my shoes left-handed instead of right-handed. And that's kind of cool, because I didn't know how to do that before. And in the process, I got to thinking, well, why isn't there a different way to do it? And then, that's how we got this whole process of, why isn't there a way to do everything different? And even if you're not going to change anything, why does it mean you can't make something? I mean, look at your car, look at a plane, a train, anything really, and you see something that another person made. Maybe not always intending to make it, but made nonetheless. that sparked and emerged from our norm. Because before, people were tying their shoes every day, and when that knot didn't exist, it was not the norm to tie your shoes. That's just a little bit of logic. Until someone invented a beautiful t-shirt, well, we were in togas and tunics and other forms of clothing. Until someone invented a cheap way to make nylon and other threads that can be used for, well, like 99-cent necklaces. Way to use other types of rope. And until someone made a way of imprinting a nice little cool design onto a hat, well, my life was very dull before that. So thank you for whoever made that hat. Anyway, the point goes that if you're saying to yourself, you can't do something, you probably can. Sure, maybe you're not as rich as Bill Gates. You're not as talented as Tony Stark. You don't have as many resources as others. Or you just never met anything before. Well, why should that discount you from being an inventor? If you come up with a good reason, I'd like to hear it. But if not, and while you think of that, I'd say that you're perfectly capable of being the inventor that you're supposed to be. And that's because the inventor that you're supposed to be is not the inventor that I am, or someone else is. Heck, that's why you're not supposed to compare yourself to me, because obviously if we all try to be the same person, it's going to be pretty hard to make new things. Nope, it's when we do a new standard for ourselves and everything else, and live with a little bit of curiosity, that we can break into what possibly was, well, our destiny to make. And even if you don't believe in destiny, maybe you believe in the scientific process. And the scientific process is all trial and error. That's pretty cool because, well, you can't say trial without try. And if you break it down and don't spell properly, try all. Try all the ways. Try all the things. Try all the ideas. Think of what you can make. The crazy thing is, there's things that have not been invented yet, and that's because we can't think of them because they're not here. Imagine that. You know, people didn't think of space travel because we wanted to be in space, but we didn't think of the means to get there. People didn't think about rocketing down the highway in a car until we did it. Yeah, sure, they had ideas of what they wanted to do. They might have maybe had blueprints and sketches, but someone had to do the effort and make something out of it. And all of a sudden, shoot, we've all driven now. We've all had a way to see technologies that did not exist. That is astounding. Because if all those things could be invented, imagine what's going to come. Well, I don't know. And that's why I'm doing this whole thing to ask you to do your part and do what you can do. Because, well, although it's kind of cool to shoot my ideas out to you, if you just all spend your time trying to do what I think, it gets kind of boring. Just like if I spend all my time trying to do what you think or what you want to do, well, at what point are we going to make something new? Nope. Dare to be a little bit different. Dare to think outside the box. Never forget that the person who figured out the precursor to beer decided to drink some fermented yeast out of a water puddle. And that's kind of gross. Because, well, if you've not tested it, there's some good hints of something being poisonous if you've not tried it before. And yet, thanks to that, we have multi-billion-dollar beer industries. So, whatever happens, take a risk sometimes. A little bit. Try to be a bit safe, so maybe don't do something that blows you up, but other than that, maybe just start simple. Try to retie your shoes without doing it the way that you're told. Yeah, it might take a little bit longer. And it might be a little bit frustrating. And it might not look as good or be as fast and efficient. But heck, that's only because you know that. What you don't know is a new way to tie your shoes. And that's only something that can be found by trying to find it. So, whether it be tying your shoes a new way, or figuring out the new type of energy that's going to catapult us into the stars, or just make a better way to get the last drop of water out of your water bottle, well, that'd be amazing. So, whatever you're going to do, best luck with it. Because the fact that you're going to try, shoot, that's admirable in itself. So, best of luck. Have a great day. And get to work. See you next time.